Stop laying the foundation of your company on the equality of outcome ethos. I've made an infographic to explain what I've learned. I call it the Norton-Aristotle framework of long-term business. The foundation of the business is its mission and ethos. The pillars supporting the structure is its branding elements. That's pathos. The roof of the business, like the top of a pyramid, is logos. Your logos consist of your calls to action. Logos is about expressing what you want people to buy from you and how. To stay in business, I've had to rebrand my own marketing firm 3 times over the process of only 4 years. The concept of building a marketing firm has remained the same throughout the process, though how the company works and is structured has definitely changed. It's evolved over a long, arduous process of trial and error. My marketing firm has gone through 3 names: Tenka International, Stratagem Internet Marketing, and Omi Firm. I started Tenka International all wrong, completely wrong. I overshot my target by miles. This is because I based it on an ethos involving equality of outcome. The concept of equality of outcome is a lie, point blank. The reason why I did it though was because I actually believed in that lie. I believed that we're all capable of the same things, that differences in genetics, psychological strength, etc. don't make any difference. I projected the "if I can do it, then you can do it too" theme, when the truth is you can only become one of 2 things in life: the optimized version of what you were designed to be, or the unoptimized version of what you weren't designed to be. I believed in the lie of equality of outcome because I inherited that lie from my parents. And I say parents with a parentheses S because my father died when I was 4, so he wasn't actually around. It was my stepfather and my biological mother. Both of them were products of mainstream African American culture. And note that I stress the word mainstream because I'm not talking about all African Americans. What's interesting is that my biological mother isn't truly black. She's got some of it in her, but she's not black. She was a mixed race, white dominant woman, though she followed the Jim Crow style one-drop rule manner of thinking. She grasped onto self-limiting mainstream African American beliefs. As a result, she passed many of them on to me as her child through the process of raising me. And like many African American families, my biological father, who would have cared about me most, was not there to show me a better path. As a lost creature, I stumbled down the political paths of socialism and communism. These involved incorrect beliefs that were not based upon the principles of economics. I was smart enough to make the right decisions to get out of the ghetto, though I carried a lot of mental damage with me from my past. This mental damage led to some decisions that I made that were very bad. It took me a series of extremely painful experiences in different countries at the right times to snap me out of my self-limiting beliefs. However, once I changed my beliefs, I saw exponentially more and more success in every area of my life. This occurred because my decision process changed. Your beliefs make the framework of your decision making, and your decision making determines your fate. Tenka International's bad ethos led to bad pathos, which then led to misleading logos. I did generate some sales, but I couldn't satisfy the bulk of my clients. If that pattern had repeated, my business would have inevitably collapsed. Then my bad reviews would have branded me a scam artist permanently, even though I actually meant well. Meanwhile, like Simon Sinek said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They need to believe what you believe in order to connect emotionally with your business. That emotional connection is necessary to convert a cold lead into a warm buyer. This means that I was an entrepreneur, but I was a mentally weak person who could not follow the principles of economics. The people who believed what I believed at the time were my clients. We all believed the lie, but I was the one held responsible for the results in the business. But how could I deliver good results if I started off with the wrong beliefs? The wrong beliefs lead to bad decision making. Bad decision making leads to horrific results. So the majority of people building businesses are not left-wing thinkers. Left-wing and centrist thinkers tend to have higher IQs and higher rates of education. However, there is a difference between intelligence, education, and psychological strength. None of these are the same thing. I started off my life with an abnormally high IQ, And no, I'm not saying that to brag. My IQ didn't mean anything at the time. In the beginning of my life, I completely failed to access the potential of that IQ. This is because I didn't appreciate education when I was young. I acted out in class and tried to play too cool for school because of the psychological damage of my childhood. I was born with great intellectual potential, yet I was psychologically weak and uneducated. So think of my mind as a standard computer. I had great hardware, but key missing data files with a corrupted operating system. Thus, I was not set up for success in life. What saved me were only two qualities. One, my determination, and two, my ability to admit wrong when necessary and evolve into a better state of being as a genuine form of apology in service to mankind. Now you understand the context. I started Tenka International in the first state of being. I attracted people who believed what I believed, which was wrong. As a result, we failed. Then I reflected on why we failed. I analyzed the basis of my decision making, and it ultimately boiled down to my beliefs. My beliefs made the foundation of my business. When I came to that conclusion, I forced a change within myself. As a result, the company had to change with me. This means that I had outgrown my friends, all of whom were leftist thinkers. My wife had to change with me too. Now that was stressful on our marriage for a short time, but she also saw what I saw. She has helped me build my business from day one. This means that she also went through many of the same experiences in the same way that I did, only we were in it together. So the same stimuli affected us in the same way. There was some turbulence, but in the end we ended up all right. Now we enter Stratagem Internet Marketing. This is our second attempt at building a marketing firm. Our ethos was good, we hired new people to replace the old ones, we rebuilt our team, but our pathos was terrible. We finally started targeting the right people with the right beliefs needed to be successful in business. There are leftist thinkers who are successful in business, but they're typically one of two types. One, they really aren't leftist at all, but virtue signal that they are for publicity's sake. Or two, they are salon leftists who say that they believe one thing but make decisions like a capitalist. The difference between them is this: one is willfully aware, the other isn't. Meanwhile, the left-wing thinkers who really believe what they say and act out what they believe tend to be unsuccessful. This is because their belief system, like mine was in the very beginning, was not aligned with the principles of economics. As a result, they go out of business because they make decisions that hurt their business rather than help. The people who don't change are the people who tend not to be able to figure out why. Then, as a result, because it's too mentally painful to change their core beliefs, they end up blaming the system rather than themselves. They end up blaming a very vague system in their mind that they cannot define with specificity because they don't actually understand it themselves. They've chosen to continue believing in a lie. At this time, it was difficult to bring in good clients. The foundation of our company structure was firm, but the pillars of our company were weak. I wasn't publishing content on a regular basis that demonstrated the truth of what I was claiming to represent. I wasn't publishing enough content on a consistent and regular basis to build a relationship with my target audience while demonstrating that I am who and what I say I am. This is because it took a lot of energy for me too. I am extremely introverted. Talking at all burns my energy. As a consequence, some people would question my character, but I understood why. This is when I started making good full-time money, but it was very difficult to keep it up. This is because I had two main barriers. One, the international reputation of black people while competing in a high IQ job market, and two, extreme introversion. For the first point, I had begun targeting the right people who shared my beliefs, but they tended not to hire black people often. The reason why was because they knew about mainstream Afrocentric beliefs. So in their perception, while scrolling through the Upwork proposals, they'd see the profile of a black guy. Then they'd weigh the odds of me working out with them. They'd ask themselves several questions. One, what are the chances that this guy takes personal responsibility for his pain? Two, is this guy actually a physicist, considering that the average black IQ is 85 and below? The average and minimum expected IQ for a physicist is 130. Three, is this guy going to become a political problem for my company in the future? Will he sue me because he misinterprets a decision I make that's not in his favor? And four, did this guy get his education via affirmative action, or did he actually earn his qualifications? Did he actually earn his qualifications on an equal playing field with a white person, or was it because he was given a government handout? To sum it all up, a black person who has an IQ over 130 takes responsibility for his pain, understands the principles of economics and how business is business, and really earned his qualifications without government assistance is a very rare find. It's hard to believe, even to other black people. Getting clients to believe that, regardless of their skin color, required a lot of social proof that I didn't have. And that was a huge hurdle. Note, I'm not saying that that was oppression. It's natural market resistance with respect to my market value and the client's free will, and nothing more. To me, as a marketing strategist, these are nothing more than market resistance questions. Once there was a crack at all in my personal branding, the person who hired me or was thinking of hiring me began to question my character, like anyone would, in which case I wouldn't hire me either. Answering these questions might have been hard on my feelings, yet at the same time, I understood how this is just a very natural, logical process that any marketer creating a customer persona for any brand in any industry would have to answer. The focus of the customer persona was just simply me. I was the brand to which I was applying my own universal marketing mechanics. By answering those questions well enough, even a proud white nationalist would consider hiring me if I was able to deliver the kind of results that I was promising, or if I represented a better solution than anyone else did for their business. And that's what good marketing is about. This is because in the world of capitalism, there is no actual such thing as race. There is only one color that exists, and that is the color of your country's currency, the color of money. The process of my coming to answer those market resistance questions in a competitive enough manner to gain work required personal evolution. As a result, I changed again as a person, and so did my business too as a result. And this is when we begin talking about OmiFirm, my third attempt at creating a marketing agency. That's the brand under which you're consuming this content right now. Tenka International was a house built with a terrible foundation. It was bound to collapse during the first storm. Meanwhile, Stratagem Internet Marketing had a great foundation but terrible pillars of pathos. I wasn't answering the critical questions that customers needed to believe me. Thus, the business was still set to eventually collapse, just not as quickly as the first. Then, OmiFirm was the new house that I had built. The foundation's great, the pillars holding up the roof are growing, and my income is reflecting that. The end result, I have evolved as my company has evolved. I've had to overcome my own introversion to demonstrate on camera that I am who I say I am, and that I know what I'm talking about as the rightful spokesperson for the brand. And that's the secret to business, becoming a better, more efficient and effective person. Entrepreneurs like Brittany Dawn have built huge personal brands, but on terrible foundations. For those of you who don't know, Brittany Dawn is an Instagram model. She's got over 500,000 followers at the time that this video was published. Even if you're not a fitness entrepreneur, there's still something that you can learn from her blunder. Here's what she's done right. 1, she's attained a certain level of experience in a field for which there's market demand. 2, she's created a ton of content that's built her personal brand. For the first point, the fitness industry is huge. Women with even somewhat attractive bodies are natural attention magnets on social media. Meanwhile, unless you're in the body positive crowd, what woman wouldn't want a nice body? So there are millions of women all around the world looking to increase their sexual market value in this manner. Now, speaking as a man, I don't know about the super tan or the extra makeup she wears, but I will admit that she does have a relatively nice body for what it is. I can see why she's built her audience. Meanwhile, the natural social media benefits of her femininity have actually worked against her in this context. The reason why is that her personal looks have made her brand grow very fast. Faster than she could evolve as a person first. So, figuratively speaking, she built a huge house of a personal brand that looks wonderful on the outside. However, she had equality of outcome interwoven into the foundation of her brand's structure. She has accomplished something real for herself in the fitness world. She is physically fit. However, the equality of outcome foundation on which her brand stands has led her to market the "I did it this way so you could do it too" lie. Thus, as people bought Brittany's course, but slowly discovered that no matter what course they bought, they would not transform into Brittany herself, bad reviews came. The bad reviews and the doubts of her character brought the storm. And with a weak foundation, her house is now falling around her, on top of her. And I would bet my own money that the main reason at least, why she's not giving people their money back is probably because she doesn't have it to give back. At least not anymore. She may have spent it already, at least the bulk of it. When judging the failures of people like Brittany Dawn, you should take into consideration 2 different factors before you start calling her a bad person. Firstly, she may have actually believed her own lie, and her belief in equality of outcome may have come from what was actually a very innocent and noble place. And secondly, she may not be intelligent enough to figure out what she's really done wrong in totality. Because she may not fully understand her own situation, she feels like a victim. And this victimhood that she's expressing in her apology and whatnot that people are calling insincere, many people are calling her out for without taking an extra step to give her the benefit of the doubt. Brittany Dawn is not a physicist or a philosopher. She's an Instagram model. You don't need to be super smart or reflective or mentally strong to be one of those. You just need to be physically attractive and produce good content of that, for which there would be market demand. What I would do if I was Brittany Dawn was first stop and have a moment of reflection. I would come to the realization after analyzing my actions that the foundation of my house was all screwed up. Then I would start all over again from the beginning with my personal branding. I'd keep my Instagram account and my photos and followers, but publicly change the ethos of my business, and then publicly explain what's going on and why I'm doing it to my followers. In the video that I would release, I would explain to them why they are not getting their refunds yet. And I would be honest about having already spent that money in my own idiocy. As a result of coming to a higher realization, I would then offer each and every single last one of them their money back. I would explain to them that I have to get that money back, which may even mean that I have to take a part-time job to do so. And I would be very honest and direct about that. Yeah, she might get laughed at. Yeah, I might, if I was in her shoes, I would get laughed at, but that's just part of the pain that makes you who you are. And ultimately, smart people will understand that, hey, entrepreneurs make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. We're all human. In the same video, I would then outline what I'm doing to improve as a person, and thus how that is now reflecting in the change in my business ethics. Then I would just take that hit on my branding but keep going. I wouldn't give up. If she executes that well enough, she'll recover. She just may have to take a part-time job that hurts her ego as she pays off her debt to her followers. The moral of the story, your business reflects who you are.